An international stage for a Cloquet Theater Company, contemporary choreography from Amber Burns, and music from Eric Pollard, a.k.a. Actual Wolf.
Funding for the playlist is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
He's traveled and performed across the U.S. and Europe, and his path brought him back to Grand Rapids. Eric Pollard's new solo work shows off his musical talents. Please welcome him to the playlist.
It's been 10 long years, and I've hedged my bets, shuffled the cards in my hand. The aces, the eights, and the cut of the deck. It's the curse of this dying man's land. Cloudless skies and cold, cold days. Too many rocks in this ground. Winds and that's an unforgiving display on the outskirts of this shovel-ready town. It's been 45 years since they closed the mines, left it all at the bottom of that pit. The pumps, pride, and all those keep out signs. It's the cross of the hungry immigrant. The lumber camps, they all got visitor centers. Forests are a part of history. The axes, the mills, and the run of the rivers, abandoned in the white pine mystery. It's been 15 more years, and I've lost all my bets, burned all the cards in my hand. The kings and the queens and the cut of the deck. It's the song of this dying man's land. It's the song of this dying man's land.
Well, there's more music from Eric and a little conversation about Actual Wolf coming up later in the show. And now to the considerable talents of choreographer Amber Burns. The dancer, teacher, and actor combines a sense of rhythm and style to help interpret stories on stage. Her current role in Spring Awakening is a good example of an artist at work.
Jess and Joe, you guys sing first, and then it'll be Amber and Kier on the outside. And then you guys back up as Taylor and Loretta come forward. I like to think of, as a painting or a composition on stage, I want it to be conceptual and meaningful, but also visually appealing. Beautiful! All right, should we run it? Okay. My name is Amber Burns. I am choreographer and also an ensemble member.
who bore me, Mama who gave me, Mama the angels, who made me so sad.
I don't want the girls or anybody to stand in one place for too long, and if I can get formations and pathways and movement, it adds a lot of visually appealing effects.
She really gets how to make people move that haven't moved before, and she really knows how to choreograph to fit a specific style, a specific concept, a specific look, and she can make anybody look like they've been dancing for years.
Yeah, I would like there to be one more cross before you go to your spot. I like being choreographer and dancer because I get to try out my stuff. This is sort of my style of choreography. I started out choreographing just dances, and I was a dancer, and musicals are kind of new for me, but this type of dancing it's a little more contemporary, a little less traditional, and that's what I really like to do. I think of it very artistically, so like as an audience member, I want you to see a move and have it remind you of something. So I really try to think of those types of almost poses that would reflect that. Spring Awakening is basically about a bunch of teenagers just trying to discover themselves, discover the world, and they're just learning the truth about everything. I obviously listen to the music a lot, and then sit down and go measure by measure and write down sort of what comes to mind. I don't really know how it happens, but I can tell you that I think about, the space I have to work with and how many people I have for each piece, and what the set is, if I have props or set pieces. In the show, the boys get to use chairs, so I have to think not only horizontally but vertically, so that's really fun and challenging.
She kind of molds it to fit us and to fit the show, which I think is really cool.
I actually found that I really like working with actors, almost a little more than dancers, because they actually think about why they're doing movements, and they bring their own, personal things to the moves, and I really enjoy that a lot. God, this can't be it. Oh God, what a bitch.
Spring Awakening runs 3 weekends through February 25th. It's a Renegade Theater Company production on stage at the Teatro Zuccone here in Duluth. Now, as theatrical productions go, there are few community theater shows to travel as far as Wiley and the Hairy Man. The show, put together by the County Seat Theater in Cloquet, earned regional and national awards. And now it's headed, well, let's let the director tell us. Cheryl Kramer-Milder and Ruthie Zissos, one of the cast members. Okay, where's Wiley going?
I can't hardly stand it to tell you, but we have been invited to the World Festival of Children's Performing Arts in Toyama, Japan, with our show.
That's just incredible.
It's beyond our wildest dreams.
Okay,
to get to National Festival was my wildest dream, and now this is way beyond.
So from what I understand, there is only one company from North America in this collection.
That's right. We are representing the United States and beyond, and there are 20 countries being represented there. It's such an honor.
It's kind of like the Olympics of theater.
If
you think about it,
that's true.
That's pretty cool.
That's true. We felt like the National Festival was the World Series. Now we're going on to the Olympics. Good point.
Fantastic, yeah. And what a great group of people. And community theater, Ruthie, you know what it is to commit to a show in your town, let alone follow it this far.
Absolutely. We started with Wiley and the Hairy Man, I think, last January, and the journey that it's taken us on is just unbelievable. And But, you know, when you have a family of community theater like we do, you enjoy being together. But I don't think we would have ever, in our wildest dreams, imagined that this journey would have taken us all the way to Japan.
So if you haven't heard of Wiley and the Hairy Man yet, then you've been maybe sleeping, but or not paying attention. So tell me a little bit about the story, and you're actually in it too.
I play Wiley. Wiley's a young boy. It is it's a folk tale that's been performed for many years by many different theaters. And in fact, one of the things that we heard a lot when we were in competition is, oh, there's another Wiley and the Hairy Man. But this performance is so unique and original thanks to our great vision of our director.
Yeah, and how has that kind of been refined, being able to take it first, you know, to a local audience and then bring it before other, I don't know, maybe more critical or at least folks who are really looking at how you do something and how you perform?
You know, it was fun from the very first time that only a few people saw our show, and we needed their feedback, and then we showed it to our local audiences, and we found out they just, we've used the term, it's magic. It is a bit of a light and sound show too, with my husband Frank Milder's designs, but it just became even more magical with the reaction of the audiences. And then when we went to our state festival and we heard the critiques of the adjudicators, well, we cry, don't we, Ruthie? And it was just beyond what we could have hoped. The wonderful response. And at National, in a huge, beautiful theater in Rochester, New York, we were, whether we placed or not at that festival, the reaction of the audience was all I needed.
So I have to ask, why put yourself through that? I know that it's you balance community theater commitment on top of the rest of your life and family and everything else going on in your life. Ruthie, that's a big commitment.
It is, but the rewards are so great. Regardless of whether you're on the stage or behind the scenes, just being part of a theater company and knowing what you do for your audience it makes it worth it, I think.
What an amazing journey. And I know the next big hurdle is to figure out a way to fund a trip. How big is this cast? How big is the...
Well, there are 7 actors and then our support staff. We're bringing about 12 people that will be directly involved in the show, and either behind the scenes or on stage. We're trying, can I tell you what we're trying to do?
Yeah, that's a big job.
It will take about $30,000 to get us there. And because certainly flights like that are not cheap, and our host in Japan will provide as much of our set pieces as possible, because they know, we can't ship everything, and yet we've sent all of our designs, exact drawings of all of our set pieces, but I had 3-dimensional 10-foot trees in my set, so we haven't quite figured out how that will be provided yet.
Big suitcases.
Whether we have to ship that. I can't, really, I'm not even sure exactly what that would cost to ship. But the Japanese people are very creative, and they'll probably figure out a way for them to provide something like that.
Well, I know we'll be paying attention and trying to keep tabs on how the fundraising is going and how we can plug into
we're
that.
Working very hard.
Support what you're doing. All right, well, good luck with that.
Thank
and
you.
They're both involved in Steel Magnolias, which opens in, what, 6 weeks, maybe?
April,
Yeah.
first, second week of April.
Yeah, so good luck
Thank you,
with
Kim.
all
Thank
of it. Break a leg in the world of theater and raise a lot of money.
Oh, thank you. We are.
Excellent. Just want to remind you you can keep up with on Wiley's travels and upcoming shows through the theater's website, thecountyseattheater.com. And we'll be back in a minute.
Milagros, which are these really small kinds of things, and they're sort of visual manifestations of prayer. But in my work, I sort of take that form and blow it up larger, obviously, to create these relief sculptures.
In our McCrosty gallery this month, we have the artist Patrick Kluber, and then in our Minnesota gallery we have Mary Struther. and she works in photography that she hand paints with oils.
When people look at the artwork, I hope they go beyond the idea of that's dead fish and that's dead crayfish, and see the lines and the beauty and the amazing detail that can be in something as simple as a rock bass. They have done just an amazing job. I can't tell you how nice it is to show here. They really respect the artists, and they make the artists feel really great.
I'm Katie Marshall with McCrosty Art Center in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. This month we have 2 exhibits, and you can find more information on our website at mccrostyartcenter.org.
You'll find a link to the McCrosty Art Center and more on the Playlist website, theplaylistonline.org. Please keep in touch on Facebook and follow along on Twitter for the latest updates. Now, the artwork in our studio tonight comes from Ryan Tischer. He is a fearless photographer based in Duluth who literally waded into the frigid Lake Superior waters at dawn to get this shot. Now, you can see more of his work at the Washington Studio Gallery. Ryan's show, Bound to the Light, opens tomorrow night and will be up through the end of the month. And now, please welcome back Eric Pollard.
I scribble and I scratch, specific, organized, memorize, and mesmerize, and come out the other end. Where do I start out? God, where to begin? I hope to finish this ballet and to dance again someday. Words turn into words, turnover is great, substituting and removing, rearranging and relating. If it ain't for the grown-ups, then is it for the babies? What goes on inside their head? Do they know Bill Shakespeare's dead? I'll claw and kick and cry. As melodies fall off, they will rise and they will drop, and you won't hear a word. Why do I keep it up? 'Cause Bob's getting old. Think I'll step into the ring. Won't land a punch if I don't swing. Well, gloves up and shut up, and keep moving your feet, shuffling and ducking, shifting and retreating. If I can't win the round, can the battle then be won? What would I do instead? Do they know John Bach is dead? Yeah, do they know John Bach is dead? I'll quibble and I'll quabble, I will not rhyme at all. I'll just write down a third verse and hope that you can't hear. How should I wrap it up? You know what I mean. Well, the TV is still on, and it's getting later. Well, stumbling through ideas and running out of lines. To heck with all of this. Well, I said I wasn't gonna stop. And if the men won't listen, then is this for the ladies? What goes on inside their head? Do they know Clark Gable's dead? Well, do they know Clark Gable's dead? And frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn.
Well, Eric, welcome to the playlist.
It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Very good to be here.
Thanks for coming over. Can you fill us in a little bit about your background? Because you've played in more bands than I can remember.
Yes, I have played in a lot of bands. I'm currently playing with Retribution Gospel Choir, and I play a little bit with Low. I also I've played in several local bands. First one being a band called the Dukes of Hubbard, and then the Fractals and Lo-Fi, and a whole bunch of other bands that I can't quite remember, but enough of them.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
So tell me a little bit about this Actual Wolf. Where does that fit in?
All right, Actual Wolf, which is my alter ego, came about because I needed an outlet. I've written a lot of solo material and recorded it, and I needed an outlet for, I basically needed an outlet to play it, and I thought that Eric Pollard, which is a great name, and I don't fault my parents for that at all, is fantastic, but anytime anyone hears Eric Pollard, they instantly think of my other bands, so I just thought that would help separate me from my name, I guess.
So I was teasing you. Is there a Johnny Cash in you? Is there a, Willie Nelson in you? Who inspires you?
There's a lot of country in me. I really like country music. I also grew up on the Iron Range and live on the Iron Range, so I love Bob Dylan. He's the most talked about member of the Iron Range. Him and Paul Metza, actually, and. Yeah, so I'm I guess you could call it Dylan freak a little bit, yeah. But I love him. He's great.
We were talking about how you write songs and which instrument you're native on, and you started with piano?
Piano. Started with piano, and it's because I had to play piano to be able to play drums in school band. And then I played drums a lot, and then in probably middle school or high school, I started playing my friends' guitars, and I was fortunate enough to live. My two college roommates were really good guitar players, so they taught me how to play a lot of guitar.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're recording now.
I am,
and
yes.
You have some gigs coming up.
I do. I have a show tomorrow night at the Thirsty Pagan, and then next week at RT's, I have a show with Dead Man Winter and the Retribution Gospel Choir.
So you're a busy guy.
I try to keep as busy as possible, yes.
Yeah, and how will we find this new music when it comes out?
Okay, this new music will be, currently I have a YouTube channel, which is called Actual Wolf 01, and I also have a Facebook.
Okay.
And you can follow me at Twitter, at Actual Wolf. And it's Al Sparhawk produced.
Okay.
And yeah, we're hoping to put it out here soon. So.
Well, thank you. I'll keep up with you through somehow in an electronic way. And I wish you all the best. I know you have one more song for us. We're going to wish these guys a good weekend. And as you make your plans, remember to go out and explore the arts, local theater, and take time for live music. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And thanks for coming over.
Thank you, Karen. Your white wine lips and your cocktail tongue, clenched up fists and your nearsighted eyes, your tattooed skin and your judging lies. I got some bad news, you ain't no judge. The dime store clothes and the high-class words, the painless throes of all the painful regrets, that hipster sneer, and always doubling your bets. I have a bad feeling you ain't no gambler. Your hourglass shape and prescription brain. Hair full of snakes and your off-putting gaze. Your olive arms and a soul of flames. Look toward the mirror, you ain't Medusa. The martini dreams and the little girl's heart. The public scenes and the actor's last script. Scandinavian smile and the silk of your slip. Terrible news, you ain't no princess. Your red wine lips and your whiskey tongue. Clenched up fists and your ugly disguise. Your baby's soft skin and your judging eyes. I got some bad news,